here working on some cabinets and what will be the tabletop, countertop, whatever you want to call them, for the Sienna camper van build. I do have the fan blowing, so I don't know how well that comes up, whether it's loud or doesn't come up at all, but if you hear kind of a whooshing sound of a fan, that's what it is. But otherwise, I'm going to throw the phone up here and just continue doing some work. If you guys have any questions or want to say hi, I will try to respond. I'd love to see that. And otherwise, let's just kind of get to it here. Let's just kind of get to it. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Jay, it's good to see you. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty, but I think I'm still here. Hey, Jay, just let me know if you can hear me, if you don't mind for me. And otherwise, I'm just going to position it here. And I'll be doing some sanding. So this right here is walnut. This is going to be the top for the cabinet that will be on the driver's side immediately adjacent. Jay, it's good to see you. It sounds a little faint, but okay. All right, I'll try to speak up a little bit here. All right, I'm going to bring this back a little bit. Okay, so this will be the top to the little cabinet that will be on the inside against the door on the driver's side, and this is the little cabinet right here. Let's see if you guys can see that. All right, let's pull it this way. So I'll do a video here in a few days, and I'll try to get these installed, so this will make a little bit more sense. But the top of this is where this countertop, which we're going to be working on, goes. This will be a little storage caddy. The porta potty will go down here, and then the back side. So this would be the side right here. That is, when you open up that driver's side door, this is what you would see. And so as you guys can see, you've got this cavity here, which would be blocked off from the inside, and there will be a water jug in there. And then if you guys look, see this little relief here, this little cutout. This will have. Let me show you. My plan, as of now, at least, is to use this little sink. So now, of course, I've got to cut the hole for the in the top for the sink, but the sink will actually sit on this side. If it's round, it'll sit on this side, but it'll extend a little bit into the storage bucket side over here. So, all right, guys, I'm just gonna start standing here. Or, in other words, let's do this. So you imagine, okay, so here's that little cabinet I just showed you. This is that top. You see this recess right here? This is just kind of a lot of what I had to do on these cabinets and everything was, cut little angles. You guys can't see it, but this right here is angled inwards toward this way a little bit, and that was just to fit around the door. This will sit on top of there, roughly like that. And right here, this is the cabinet. This right here is the cabinet that will run along that driver's side wall, and it'll be immediately adjacent to the bed. So it'll have an upper storage area and a lower one with just open cubbies here. And it's not going to sit quite flush because I had to make some adjustments on the floor there. But you can see how there, essentially those will line up there along that driver's side. And then top, this right here is the walnut top. Of course, I got to do some finish sanding. That will be on that cabinet that runs along that wall. That will sit like this and overlap like this. So this probably is not making a lot of sense, but just follow along, and I won't get to it tonight, but I'm going to try to get this installed and get a video out maybe Sunday, so you guys will see it in the van on that video, I hope. That's my goal. All right, so, okay, I said I'm going to do some sanding. Let's get into the sanding here. If you guys have any questions, pop them up, and I will periodically use that. Right now, I am just running an 80 grit. I've planed all this walnut down. Just as a little story, a buddy of mine gave it to me, but he had left it outside for, gosh, probably close to 2 years, so it's kind of a little warped and cracked. And I ran it off with a planer. I cut it down to about 5/8 of an inch. I didn't mind because I cut the stuff thin anyway to keep it light for these kinds of projects and the campers. But it turned out beautiful. Of course, I had to glue a couple pieces together to make it wide enough. And it was pretty flat, pretty true. But I'm just kind of running over it and making sure it's nice and smooth. Thanks, Jerry. It's good to see you, buddy. So Jay, you're asking about the walnut there. It looks a little lighter. Yeah. So I agree with you. It does seem a little lighter. I will say this though. When I put the finish on there, it'll darken up a little bit, just like the walnut tops inside the trailer here. I don't know if you remember what those look like. But as a whole, I do agree. I've seen some walnut furniture that has a much deeper wall, like a darker brown color. And I don't know. That's one of two things. Either maybe back east, there's that. That maybe there's some variations. I've heard people say black walnut. This is when I bought this. This is what this was labeled as. Maybe there's some darker ones, but I'll say this. And if somebody knows, fill me in the comments. I think a lot of people will actually apply a stain to the walnut to darken it up a little bit. And it's almost just kind of like an assumed fact. That's kind of the impression I get. And I like it kind of natural, but whenever you put the finish on there, it will darken up a little bit. But I do know what you mean. It doesn't darken up as some of like the classic furniture that you see. So, but yeah. But I guess I don't really know ultimately, but I suspect it's people were actually staining the walnut. And that's what gives it that little bit of a darker color. So this seems to um, work pretty well for me. I just bought a wood filler. It's a walnut colored one, and I don't use it to fill anything super big. But if I just have like a so right there, I just had a spot when I laminated the boards together. There was just a little bit of a crack in just the spot of it, so I just filled it in. I won't even let it fully dry. I'll sand over it, and then you don't even notice it for the small stuff like that. Oh, thanks, Bobby. I think it's going to look pretty good too. Pretty excited about it. All right. I'll take a break for a second here. Oh, Zach, it's good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, Zach over at Bearded Adventure, he released his big tour video for his first camper. I think about a week ago. I think I put a little post up, but if you guys Bearded Adventure is the channel. I think it's at Bearded Adventure. If you guys want to go over there and check it out, he did a really nice job. So I recommend that you do that. But thank you, brother. So I'm gonna sit on this right now. This is a 80 grit. It actually feels to the touch pretty darn smooth. Frankly, it's probably good enough as it sits. I will go back over it with 150 grit, but I'm gonna sit on this for a while and move to the other one and do the rough sanding. That way I can come back to it and give it another feel. I mean, I'm sure you guys can imagine sometimes if you're if you're working on something consistently, you know, you might kind of start over, look at something. Actually, let me hit this a little bit more. I feel a little bit of a high spot right here, but otherwise I'll move to the second one here in a second. All right, I think that's looking pretty good there. Thank you guys. I'm glad you guys like the build. All right. All right. So like I showed earlier, this will be the countertop. I guess you'd call it a countertop. I'm not sure. Or the top of the cabinet. Then this will be on the driver's side in the rear. In that rear window, this will be directly underneath it. I thought this was kind of neat feature here. Kind of some of this little swirling right here. So I thought that should look pretty neat. So what I'll do is the glue up on these turned out pretty good. So this is rough. All I did was scrape out some squeeze out. But this will be the back side. This is actually really good, but I'm just going to give it a good once over, and then I'll flip it over on the other side. I don't know if you guys noticed, I do have a towel right here, and that's just to avoid damaging the wood in any way. I mean, this is walnut, so it's supposed to be a little bit more hardy, anyways. But so yeah, this will be the back side. I'm just going to do a quick once over, and then we'll flip it over. This one should be pretty quick, though. All right, let's see. There's a hot one out here today. But right now, it's well, it's probably still in the 90s, I'm guessing. But little breeze. It's actually not too shabby out here right now. What are some of the heats where you guys are? Jay, what's it like over there on the East Coast, temperature-wise? All right, so the glue up on this one went pretty well. So the back side of this wasn't too bad. I just this is not. I just gave it a good once over, make sure I knocked down anything smooth. Now we're going to flip it over to the cosmetic side, and I'll spend a little bit more time on that. But fortunately, like I said, the glue up was good, so this one is really flat just as it sits. The biggest thing I have to contend with is my planer, which I ran all these boards through. I forgot. I think there's a name for it, but it's leaving like slight impressions along the direction of the grain that's raised up a little bit. So, right, Zach, 98 where you're at. Zach, do you mind sharing what your current project is? Are you still doing stuff on the camper, or you got something new going on? All right, so Zach, you're building a DIY I can't talk, a DIY outdoor barbecue island. And you're still tuning up the camper for a fishing trip. Yeah, that should. Paul was pretty excited about that. I'm sure you guys will have a great time out there. I'm gonna cut it off here in about 10 minutes. So, but I sure appreciate everyone joining in, or if you watch after the fact. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll try to throw a few more of these lives up a little bit sooner. Hope everyone's doing well, and we'll catch